Is there any way that you could sort of just soft me out so that, like, I don't know that I'm at work? In here, could I come home and think that I've been fishing all day?
What's up, guys? So the weather's still pretty awful outside. I haven't actually got a chance to go out, do any more additional videos, but that's okay because it gives me a chance to actually make this video, which I've been meaning to do for a while. So a bunch of people have asked me questions on how I go about dispatching my fish, and I figured I could make a video on it. Now I'm finally getting around to doing that. But next week I'm gonna go up north to go deer hunting with my father. So that's definitely gonna be hard to film. I'm not really sure how I'm gonna go about doing it, but I'm gonna see what I can do. Hopefully we get lucky and I'm actually able to film it. We'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, I wanted to show you guys how I go about dispatching my fish, since a couple people have already asked, and I'm sure that it's gonna be a reoccurring question going forward in the future, since I don't really always show that, or I don't think I've ever shown that. I'm not really sure. The reason I call it dispatching is because Google has an excellent algorithm that searches out words, and I think that a few in particular words associated to dispatching Google doesn't appreciate, so that's why I always say that instead of alternatives. So yeah, today I'm just going to show you how I go about it, a couple different ways, and a little bit of the anatomy so you get a better idea of the goal and how to humanely dispatch a fish. So let's get into that, and then next week hopefully I'll have some more catch and cooks for you guys, or at least a hunting video. Can't guarantee that we'll get anything, that's for sure. Okay, so since I didn't want a copyright strike, I ended up drawing my own fish, so I'm sorry for the terrible drawing. So this is basically where the brain is of the fish, pretty much right behind the eye. So you go behind the eye about a centimeter to an inch, and it's maybe about a centimeter and a half, depending on the fish species that you're going after, is where you want to be inserting your knife. I'll take my knife and insert it into the brain, and then you'll try to disrupt that region there. So ultimately that's the goal. I think this is the most humane and quickest way possible. Okay, so now that we understand the anatomy of the fish, we can actually have a better idea of how these techniques are going to work. So in my mind, there's three major methods that you can use, and I'm going to show you two today. So it's important to do this as quickly as possible because this is stressful for the fish. And so his brain is going to be right about here. And so what you're going to do is you're going to take your knife and drive it in that general area. I like to go in at an angle and then move it around slightly. So that's a very quick, effective way of killing a fish. And then after that, it's important to bleed it out. For these smaller fish, it doesn't matter so much, but the blood does deteriorate faster, and this will help improve the taste. So you just slice right behind his gill. So his heart is still beating at this point, and the vein feeds right into the gills, and that's how they get blood circulation and oxygen. So making that slice right there will bleed out this fish. And that's the first method. And now for the second method, this is something I typically use if I'm not carrying a knife, which as a fisherman, it's pretty rare that I'll go fishing without a knife. But the idea behind this is that you're gonna hit that same spot, and it's gonna be kind of a blunt force. So I find a sharp edge, get a firm grip on the fish, and you're just going to lift up and hit his head against it. What this is going to do is going to concuss the fish so you can bleed him out. So a nice firm smack. This fish is now out cold, so his nerves are still going to be twitching at this point. That's why I prefer to use the knife in back of the head. I think that's the most effective way of killing a fish. But this works too if you find yourself in a situation where you don't have a knife. Now the third technique is something that I don't often do, and it's best if you use a larger fish. And it's the same idea in that you're destroying all the nerves, and so you go in through the brain, you poke a hole in the brain, again killing the fish, but it takes it one step further, and you take a metal rod and you drive it down the spine of your fish and destroy all nerves within it. So I'm not going to show that today, but that is something you can look up online, and I'll link the name in the description so you can see that for yourself. That's pretty much how I go about dispatching my fish. I hope you found this useful, and thanks for watching.